all new. AM1150WTMP.com.
Afternoon, everybody. This is Porch Talk Radio. I'm the executive producer of the show, Tim Horton, the face you never see, the voice you very rarely ever hear. Gabriel is here,
Live.
and we've got some guests. We're going to get you some information this hour. We make jokes about the lunatics in charge of the asylum because Eddie's not here. He's off on a personal adventure today.
That's right.
No problem, no crisis, anything like that.
Is it 50 or 60 year
Fun stuff.
reunion? I think they're doing.
Well, it's the 50 year that he's doing planning for.
Yeah. Since
So-
he's a little bit older, it takes a little bit longer
Exactly.
to get it planned out.
I don't know about you. Eddie talks about Lake Wales all the time, and it's a nice little town.
It's about the size of a zip on a net's butt, isn't it?
But when I graduated high school, I was in a hurry. When I got out of town, I never looked back. I had no interest in a reunion. They were all nice, fun folks and good friends, but see ya, as in like never again.
So here we go.
So that's my personal story about high school reunions.
There you go. I haven't been to one yet. It's on my list. They keep dying off. I think it just might be down to me eventually. Who knows? Folks, as we go forward to everything, we have a lot of information. We're going to try and make this an information hour, make use of your time, make it very valuable, increase the value by having an awesome guest that's been in a certain industry for almost 29 years, if not a little bit more. We're going to talk to you about, Tim, you want to hit the first thing?
Well, I think we want to give back to the community because that's all of what Porch Talk Radio is about. Gabe is an expert in the healthcare field. I have a lot of experience in the healthcare field, so does our guest. So grab a piece of paper, grab a pencil, and we're going to churn through a lot of information, touch the highlights, and give you some resources if you have more questions about. So we're going to talk about employer health insurance. If you don't have employer health insurance, what kind of health insurance options do you have? ObamaCare, big deductibles, what can you do about that?
Small employers are sacred to our hearts. We love you guys, and we've got some great plans to make things very affordable for your people.
Especially me with the startup venture capital stuff I do. Little Employers is something I've swum in that swimming pool for 30 years. We're going to jump into Medicare, talk about a mess of misinformation and a lot of bogus stuff in the TV commercials that you see. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about life insurance. We're going to
talk about all the stuff you'd really rather not.
Exactly.
We're going to give you plenty of resources, how you can go dig out that information for yourself and communicate with us after the show. We're not taking any calls because we have such a large block of information. We're just trying to transfer it over to you that you can help yourself, your family, friends, as they come to you, because healthcare is something we all deal with at one point or another, as well as everything included with the life insurance stuff. We're here, we're gone, that's simple. Hopefully the in-between part worked out for us. And then when we leave, what do we leave behind? If you have grandkids, we have plans we're going to talk about at the end. If you have kids or spouses, you can leave them something as well, and we have something, we'll talk about that towards the end. And again, we'll have constant phone numbers, emails, and websites you can go to follow up with it. Tim, what's our next?
So grab a piece of paper and a pencil, seriously. We fool around here. We do a lot of non-political when Gabriel and Eddie play around. A lot of that's performance. If you don't know that, a lot of that's performance.
Wait a minute. We're still the #1 rated show again.
Exactly.
Year after year after year.
But we're here to give you some information, and so we're going to kind of churn through this. We made a strategic decision, no phone calls today, so we can kind of blast through this. The thing about insurance, whether it's life insurance, health insurance, group insurance, employer insurance, anything that has anything to do with insurance, including your car, that we are not going to talk about today.
No.
Every situation is slightly different. So we can't cover every case and every situation. You're going to have questions. So with your piece of paper and a pencil, write them down and then reach out. Mm-hmm. So the website you should know, this is Porch Talk Radio. So the website that you know is porchtalkradio.com. In going through the show today, if you have questions about, well, I heard Tim say, I heard Gabriel say, you said, your guest said, you have those kind of questions, send them in an email to gabriel@porchtalkradio.com. You hear Eddie all the time give out his phone number and his email address, eddie@porchtalkradio.com. Gabriel's is gabriel@porchtalkradio.com, and we'll give you how many guesses do you need to figure out what mine is, because I'm Tim Horton, the executive producer of the Porch Talk Radio Show. So if you have questions, email gabriel@porchtalkradio.com, and we'll turn through the specifics of your case. We're not here to twist anybody's arm, sell stuff. That's not what we're here. It's community information. So let's start with employer group insurance, especially small.
Oh my goodness, could you have said something more worse? Right now, thankfully, with the small market being that the 50 employees or less, employers are not mandated to have any coverage for their employees of any kind. At that point, once you get to 100, then it gets there, because at that point they're wanting you to begin to provide 50% of the coverage of the employee's health coverage. So if you've got 10 employees and 4 want health insurance, medical insurance, and the combined rate for the employee, you're only responsible for the employee, not the family, not the kids, unless you create an executive group, then you can do what you want. But all the employees otherwise get treated the same, and if the employee premium is going to be, for example, combined of 4 employees, just the employees themselves, we could say an average of $3,000 a month is a total premium. You're responsible for half of that. No. If you drop below that amount of employees, you're supposed to be able to keep that forward, keep that coverage on board, then at that point, they're not going to let you out of it so easy. You can eventually drop out, tell the employee you're on your own, but at that point, you're probably going to have a peed-off employee, and there you go. So it's an understanding. As you continue growing your organization, growing the bottom line, providing some kind of benefits is going to be a big deal to try and retain those people. Because right now, if Walmart is, $15? They're actually doing $20 in some part-time spots for Walmart right now. Amazon is starting out a bit more money.
Which makes it competitively difficult if you're running a tire store, heating, air conditioning shop, a mattress store, which I had for years. They're long gone now, but retail mattress stores, as an example, makes it real difficult. If you've got 14, 12, 8, 25 employees, it's real expensive because you're not working the law of large numbers, which in the insurance business is a thing. There's a deal called the law of large numbers, but to oversimplify it, if you go to Costco and you buy a 48-pack of toilet paper, the individual cost of the toilet paper roll is much smaller than if you walk into the same store and buy only 1 roll of toilet paper. Law of large numbers. That's why group health insurance is better than you out there trying to wing it on your own, even with ACA.
So
or Obamacare.
Exactly.
They keep bumping up against these the problems of not having a nice group to spread the risk across, which is what insurance is doing.
Exactly. So back to just the law of large numbers Tim keeps talking about is if you've got 5 employees, you probably are paying your bills, hopefully, and you're doing okay. The company's making some money. That's good. Now the employee comes to you and says, hey, how about some dental? I need some dental. Well, most employers can look around for dental insurance, and the catch-22 for you as the employer is if you provide it to one, you better provide it to all. And once dental, the door is open to that. Well, how about vision? How about medical? As the employer, you're on the hook if you offer it to one. So what we do through the National Savings Care of America organization, we've got plans in there starting out at $29 per family. I did say family. So if they need dental, vision, medical, telemedicine, these things are included in that one $29 cost. Now, if you're a fancy type person and you want prepaid legal, you want to cover your pet, a lot of people have pets, then you've got prepaid legal, you've got the pet care, you've got a few more coverages in there that you can suddenly end up at $59 a month for the entire family. Now, did I say insurance? I never said insurance. This is called National Savings Care Program of America, meaning that you have access to the networks. And that's where the insurance companies get their power,
right,
is the contracts they hold with those networks. That means to you, the average individual is, once you go to that doctor that's in that network, you take care of whatever it is, you pay your copay deductible. If you have regular health insurance, the National Savings Care Program of America does not have any of that. But once you take care of the costs right there in front of that doctor's office, that's it. You're done. No more bills in the mail later.
And that's how to game the system with healthcare. Everybody is doing that to one degree or another. So if you are a member of a union, you have 1,000 pipe fitters, 1,000 employees, can go to a group of doctors
and negotiate.
Hey, can we get a lower rate? You know this as the average healthcare consumer. You know this without knowing it. When you go to your healthcare company, any of them, any of the major ones, and you say, I need to go to a cardiologist. Okay. The first thing they're going to say to you is, here's our list of cardiologists that are in network, because those cardiologists are our friends, and they've agreed to
contracted, that's right.
To take, Vector Insurance, my company, Vector Insurance, and they'll give us a discount. But if you go to that doctor over there, who we don't know and don't have a deal with, he's going to bill full boat retail. And nobody wants to pay full boat retail for anything, which is why we shop at Amazon and Walmart. So the healthcare is the same thing. And with these huge deductibles that a lot of this insurance comes with, you're out of pocket for co-pays, you're out of pocket for deductibles, you're out of pocket for everything.
Co-insurance as well. I've had families out of New York, New Jersey, for them to have family coverage be $2,300 per month just for the bare bones family medical health plan. Now that does not include the $5,000 deductible they're going to be out of pocket, or the co-pays, or co-insurance, which could be a few $1,000s on top of that before that insurance policy pays out $1. So that's where the National Savings Care Program of America comes in handy, because it's $1, day one. It starts covering, protecting, and of course there's nothing with pre-existing issues. It covers everything immediately. The day you set it up is the day your coverage begins.
So we added to the website, porchtalkradio.com, that you all know. If you'll go to porchtalkradio.com, scroll to the bottom of the page. We made this as easy as we can. There is a button link, an advertiser link, that, for NCSA. On the bottom of the page, if you click that link, it will take you to the page to explain more about the program. All insurance is convoluted and complicated, so if you have questions, Gabriel at porchtalkradio.com, and we'll be happy to answer your specific questions about your situation.
I've got 30 years in this industry. I've pretty much heard all the questions. I've seen some great claims paid like they're supposed to, and I've seen some others just go sideways. And not only do people's feelings get hurt, but then their pocketbook gets blown up. If they didn't have the proper coverage at the right time, they didn't know about it, and now it's too late. And that's why we're here today, giving out information. We don't want you to be one of those people that gets stuck with $1,000 of bills suddenly. Thankfully, the National Savings Care Program of America does help if you already got bills from past situations, medical situations. They can help either reduce those down, if not have them completely written off. That's why you want to go to porchtalkradio.com, scroll to the bottom, National Savings Club, it's listed there, will pop up. You can go to the actual website, look into it, or just drop me an email, Gabriel at porchtalkradio.com. Looking at time, wow, it's blasting away.
Well, and that's why we're here, just good information. We'll skip across the top again, because anything related to insurance is very complicated and requires some specificity of, what's my problem, not the guy across the street's problem. So, Porch Talk Radio, all about good information. That's a little bit about small and large employer insurance. It's that time of year, boys and girls. You've seen all the TV commercials. You know where I'm going. You've seen all the junk mail in the mail, the phone calls if you're on the mailer list.
You're on Medicare.
It's Medicare season, which is not nearly as much fun as Gasparilla season or
I'll drink to that.
Football season or any other kind of season. It's Medicare season. And so if you are new to Medicare, we've got some information for you. If you think that you got Medicare covered. Oh, I have a Medicare program, I've got Medicare, I'm good. What you need to know is that these programs, both Medicare itself and a thing called Medicare Advantage, which is all the things you see advertised, we're going to talk about that, move, evolve, change almost yearly.
Yearly, yeah.
And you really need to check every year because all the benefits and perks that they advertise on these TV commercials do change, they do evolve, and every year between October 15 and December, early December, you have an opportunity to switch, change, get new, get better, get mo money.
And with that said, Mr. Tim, we have an expert that I've known for several years and also has been in the industry as is my son's age, 29 years. He's been in that industry that long. Fernando Cespedes, he's been our local expert here in Tampa, Florida. He's got his own radio show as well that he's done for quite a while now. And Fernando, I know him personally. I've sent people to him that I know personally, and family members, friends. And Fernando has always been Mr. Live, Mr. There, taking care of the need, returning calls, returning annoying texts. Always there to take care of the people. And the people tell me after it's all get taken care of, he was very nice. He just took care of our business. He didn't give us any trouble. He just handled it. The next thing we know, doctor's officers are being called for us, and everything was being smoothed out. So Fernando Cespedes, come on board.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Tim, good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
I like the dynamic you guys have between both of you.
Yeah,
well, with faces like this, radio's perfect.
There you go.
Exactly. That's why it's a radio show and why my face is never on the radio.
There you go.
Did this for 20 years and quit TV for that reason. They said you got to go back to radio. It's Medicare season. I'm seeing all these celebrity people on TV telling me I can get free this and free that. Well, I guess, and we get a little technical because we know too much about Medicare, but they never say free. It's not free.
It's not.
Two reasons it's not free. First of all, it's not free because Medicare you paid for with your contribution taken out of your paycheck all those years, so you paid for it, you're just not paying for it today. And number two, it's not free, it's zero deductible, which means no out-of-pocket. Sounds like free, but there's a little technical spin there that it's zero deductible, which is not the same as FREE free.
So go with it, Fernando.
Interesting you say that because we take an annual exam, or my staff, or the staff of agency, and myself, including being the president of an agency. It's not just that I'm a writing agent. We take an annual exam, and we are not allowed to say free. It's not being compliant with CMS.
Right.
The governmental agencies, Centers for Medicare Services, prevent us from saying free. It's zero copay. We must be very detailed in our presentation, whether we enrolling someone over the phone, because now we can do it electronically. Tim, Gabriel, things have changed because of last year I called it a pandemic, but that's another issue. So a lot of the carriers have developed a lot of platforms electronically, but I'm a stickler for details. We must explain because people matter. It seems to me that one thing that I picked up right away, people matter to you, and you educate, you inform the client. That is fantastic. Same thing what I do with my staff, with my radio programs. We do a lot of events with churches. I work with a lot of doctors. My point is that it's not free. It's something that you said, people have been paying for it. Part A, you pay for it all your years while you're working. You pay that Medicare tax. When you turn 65, things change a little bit. But anyway, the biggest thing is nothing's free. You do pay for it.
So let's go back. Let's talk about Medicare.
Sure.
Because Medicare isn't a thing. Medicare is four things, right? Medicare Part A, the easiest way to think about that is the hospital stuff, right? Then everybody knows if you have Medicare, you have Medicare Part B. Part B is the doctor stuff.
Outpatient.
And then you have Part D, which is D for drugs. Part D is the drug stuff. And then what you see advertised on TV, which is both helpful in many cases, but also complicates things, is Part C. And Part C is generically referred to as the Medicare Advantage programs. So explain the difference between Medicare from the government and Medicare Advantage from private health.
Think of Part C as the word complete, that it's gonna bring all of the parts A, B, and D all into one roof. Original Medicare is designed to only cover 80% of your Part B expenses. So 20%, that person's gonna pay for it. Now, you know that we live in the United States. Healthcare is climbing every day. You go for a simple procedure, you think it's gonna cost $200-300, $1,000, it comes up with a $10,000 bill. So what happens is the original Medicare only covers 80% of your Part B expenses, leaving you, the recipient, the Medicare recipient, 20%. Now, Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan, Medicare Advantage, was created early '97. They were updated in the early 2000s. Why? It's because it's the third choice. Folks who were getting tired of paying all those high premiums, deductible, they were getting just a basic plan. So Medicare contracts with all those private insurance carriers that are required to develop a Medicare Advantage prescription drug, Medicare Advantage Part C.
And those are all the names you know, right? That's Humana, Aetna,
There's over
Cigna,
16, actually over close to 20 carriers.
Freedom, yeah, there's lots and lots
WellCare,
of them.
Cigna, United, they're voted. It's amazing what's coming up. I'm not allowed to talk about 2022, but I can talk about 2021. But on October 1st, if we're going to go a little sideways for a minute, on October 1st, we are compliant with, we can go ahead and discuss the new changes to the 2022 new benefits. Because you're right, every year we have all of our staff at my agency, Family Focused Insurance Solutions, we have all of our services are free. By the way, we never charge you a fee. I don't care if it's 10 calls, 10 visits. We stop by your home, you come to our office, we will never charge you. One of the key services is a free annual checkup. Is when we pop the hood open, we're going to check your fluids, we're going to check the policy. Did your Medicare Advantage is going to change for the coming year? Every year they receive an annual notice of the annual notice of changes. What's going to let that recipient, if I enroll Gabriel, that document is going to tell you is the network's going to change. We're going to delete your doctors. We're going to increase your copays. We're going to take out, put in. So in other words, it's your due diligence to call your agent. And so we have a free service called Free Annual Checkup, where we'll sit with you. Any of my agents, my staff, myself, will make an appointment. We'll get you into the queue. We'll get you into the calendar, and we're going to sit with you and walk you through page by page what hidden changes is going to happen for 2022, so we can help you offset that.
So you said 80% of Medicare is going to cover. I'm not sure I understand. 80% of whatever the bill is, or what does that mean?
So that's a good question. So
We're laughing here because we know better.
That's right.
So you are alluding to if you're on original Medicare, you don't have nothing, no Part C, no private care. You're on your own. You have only the government to take care of you. So whenever you go to a doctor or procedure, when you get your bill, you are responsible for that 20% of that aggregate number.
Aggregate.
Gross.
Aggregate means big damn.
But the
80%
80% of what's,
it's
is
not
there a word
aggregate,
allowable?
no.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so in other words, goodness, I don't want to get taken, I know we have time, but it's a good question. So that 80%, so once you have a procedure, you go to the doctor's office, they're going to charge you that 20% that is medical allowable. I mean, but listen, I have one of my staff, one of my agents recently got into an accident 2 or 3 months ago. Got into a major accident, had to be lifted to the 3 miles, whatever, at the hospital. It cost him like $53,000 for the helicopter ride. So you got to pay 20% of that medical allowance. So let me
I didn't pay $53,000 when I took a helicopter ride in Vegas and flew over the Hoover Dam, and that was fun.
Yeah, this wasn't fun.
This wasn't fun.
But let me go dive in a little more. So usually, more technical, usually you're going to get huge inflated numbers. So obviously they know they're not going to get paid that. So you play the negotiation game back and forth. So obviously you can take a hit, but that 20% gets back and forth. And the person can get frustrated, and you got to hire lawyers and whatnot. So people get just tired, and then let me just pay 10%, whatever it is. So it just becomes a game. Healthcare, if you don't have the right coverage, as you gentlemen know, you're going to get paid a lot of money. So if I can provide my number, if I can.
Sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have a next question, but while we're doing it,
Sure.
how do folks listening, who all have their pencils and paper ready, how do we get a hold of Fernando?
Absolutely, very simple. We have, our office is 813-533-3000. We have a local office here in town and country. We service, practically, I have agents all over the state of Florida. So once again, 813-533-3000. Our website is very simple, ffis.co. It's not a mistake, not com, it's .co. ffis.co. That's a website. You can sign up if you want to leave us a message. I have a lot of people say, Fernando, I heard you on the radio, somebody refer me to me, send me a message electronically, we'll get it. ffis.co.
So you're a local guy here, basically.
Absolutely, yeah, and practically our independent agency, Gabriel, Tim, we practically cover, represent all of the carriers. All those you mentioned, we go there on an annual basis, aside from the Medicare exam that we take on an annual basis. Every carrier requires that we have to recertify. If we don't get certification.
With each carrier?
With each carrier, so we take about 16, 17 exams.
And that was my next question. So I'm sitting at home and I see a TV commercial or a radio commercial, or I get something in the mail from Brand X. We rattle off a bunch of the big names everybody knows of Medicare providers, but the Brand X insurance. If I call a Brand X 800 number to talk about Medicare coverage, the person on the other end of the phone is this is a little unfair, but they're a sales agent.
That's correct.
They are selling Brand X insurance. They don't know about Brand Y insurance. They don't know anything about Brand A, B, and C insurance. They're there as a sales agent for Brand X. Fernando's broker guys are brokers, which means that they see a spectrum of plans from a spectrum of providers and go, for you in your specific case, you have diabetes or you're healthy or whatever your story is, this is the best plan for you from this carrier. They look at all the plans, all the carriers, and go, this is the best choice for you today.
So instead of being pushed into Brand X, Fernando brings to the table access to all the other companies, and their people are trained. They know the different brand, what each brand specializes. Now, each company is going to have a niche they're going to go after. And as you work with someone like Fernando that knows all these different companies or niches, has been tested by each individual company, when he comes to the table, he sees where you are, what your medication are, you go, oh, well, you know what, there's a great brand that'll fit that particular need. Does that make sense?
It does, and by the way, you hit the nail on the head earlier. Again, you should be working with us, Tim. Guess what
For
happens?
a small fee.
I'm telling you. Here's what happens. So, like, whenever one of our brokers, again, once you sit with us, like sitting with 16 different agents at once, what happens is when you, and I'm not just anything negative about calling somebody over the 1-800, it's not bad, but you don't build a relationship. Guess what happens? Customer service is almost evaporating. So what we like to do here in our agency family focused insurance is that we develop a relationship. But the main thing, Tim Gabriel, we educate you. A lot of sales agents forget to explain all the little hidden messages, the fine print. We go step by step because we want to make sure that we're going to find you doctors. Once again, I being Royal Gabriel, I want to make sure, what are your doctors? What if you have any treatment going on? What is important to you? Do you want a Part B refund? Do you want a specific PPO? Do you like to travel? Do you want a specific HMO? Do you want a dental plan input? So we want to cater to his needs and make sure that we're going to pair you. It's like matchmakers. We're going to, out of all those 16 plus carriers, we're going to, based on his needs, we're going to do our research. Sometimes it might take 2 or 3 days or a week. We want to make sure that if he has 10 doctors that he wants to keep, we're going to do our due diligence to find the right carrier to make sure that he fits his needs.
And education is important. I have a little bit of experience, Medicare experience, and one of the things I found, just as an example, is that a lot of these Medicare Advantage programs have what is generically referred to as a Silver Sneakers program, which is, let's call it a free gym membership. And it's buried down in the small print. It's a zero cost benefit, not free. But it's a zero-cost benefit, and so you have a Silver Sneakers program. If you don't sign up and pick a gym and go, you're, in quotes, wasting, end quotes, a benefit. If you go out of an evening and walk around the neighborhood, or you're trying to get exercise, or your family or your doctor's screaming at you, you need more exercise, if you have one of these Silver Sneakers program that's a zero-cost benefit already that you just haven't used, well, whose fault is that? Get up off your Podarcus and go to, and there are gyms located all over. It's not like it's one gym clear across town you have to go to. They're all over the place. And so, you know, you need to, that's where review helps, and talking with somebody that cares about you, is that there's benefits buried in these programs that you don't know about or weren't explained. You don't read that 72-page introductory welcome package you get every year, right? On page 486, it says, oh, by the way, free gym membership.
Exactly. Now, how do they get in touch with you again?
Absolutely. They can give us a call at 813-533-3000. Again, it's a local number, 813-533-3000. 3000.
And then there's a website you said also.
Absolutely, www, obviously, ffis.co, once again, ffis.co, and again, 813-533-3000.
Wow, that's a lot of information right there. I pray that people wrote the information down so they can communicate back, but having somebody, kind of a one-stop shop approach, not waste people's time playing around the internet, getting distracted. Oh, Pinterest, oh, look at that recipe. And then 3 days later, they're no further ahead. Just having someone to be able to visit with them, that can talk with them, explain stuff to them. For this day and age, customer service-wise, calling an 800 number is okay if it's Amazon and you're trying to get a cheap deal. But if it's, but to have a human being touch, that's actually great nowadays.
Well, and where that touch matters is in some of the details. I have my fingers crossed here because I wanted to talk real quick about the advertising, the marketing, the TV commercials.
Sure.
I'm going to throw everybody under the bus. Let's talk real quick about the most popular, most advertised benefit of a Medicare Advantage program that people seriously misunderstand. All the TV commercials say some version of give back program. $144, $148. There's a reason why they picked that number, by the way. We'll get to it. But what is, people assume, oh, I'm going to get $144 back. But that's not what the TV commercial technically says in the script. That's the impression you think. Tell us why the give back program, while reality oftentimes is sort of bogus.
There's a couple of ways that I can answer that question, but number one, I like always education. Part B premium, once again, Medicare has those 4 parts we mentioned earlier. Part B as in boy, there's a monthly premium that Medicare charges you on a monthly basis. It's in 2021, it's $148.50, $148.50.
There's that number, by the way. Isn't that coincidental? Go ahead.
So that advertising you see often, wow, it perks your ears, oh my goodness, I'm going to get X amount of money. But it's based, first of all, it's based on your zip code. Based on your zip code, you can potentially be able to obtain maximum. Not every carrier offers you a Part B give back.
Right.
Some companies do 100, 125. The maximum company right now is $144.60. So meaning that if I sign up, once again, Gabriel, to that plan X, and it's going to give Gabriel on a monthly basis at $144.60, Gabriel will only be responsible for $3.90 on a monthly basis. So that company's going to offset, pay not all of it, but most of it. Getting back to the advertisements, and I can tell, I've been doing this such a long time. Some those advertisers will give you $100, $130. That means that company does not represent the top carrier. Because once a carrier says we can give you up to $144.60, now that tells me that they have that carrier that is giving you the maximum. But second, is based on your zip code. If somebody calls me for Manatee, which you have a lot of presence in Manatee, Sarasota, they're not going to qualify because that zip code does not gives you maybe $100 maximum. So it's based by county. Not all counties, not all zip codes are going to give you all that $144.60.
Well, and to that point, again, it's advertising competitiveness.
That's correct.
We live in Florida, we live in Tampa, and we see all these TV commercials because all of the insurance carriers, we rattled a bunch of the names off, all are clamoring to sell you a car, right? Ford wants to sell you a car, Chevy wants to sell you a car, Honda wants to sell you a car, everybody wants to sell you a car. They run advertising. The Medicare Advantage companies do the same thing. Because you're in a hot market, competitive market, Tampa. If you live in West Virginia and you are listening to my voice, guess what? You are out of luck, Chuck. If you're in Minnesota and you're listening to my voice, in most of the cities of Minnesota, you have one, as in the first digit, one Medicare plan choice. And guess what? No give back. Weak dental, if any.
That's right.
Weak vision, if any.
That's correct.
Limited choice of doctors, right? Because there's no competition. The more competition, the more they want to throw benefits and perks in. Pick me, I'm better, right? So, listening to us mostly in Tampa Bay, and our 9 people in Kansas City that listen every week.
Online, sure.
Kansas City's a good market too, by the way, so you guys are mostly okay. But
it's a population-driven thing, Tim. Where there's more
it's
people there, there's going to be a
competition,
better
right?
deal. I don't know if you would Now, also it depends on the state, like you pointed out in New Jersey, New York,
Texas.
they're horrible. They are just horrible on providing, on the insurance companies being able to provide, because the state departments, insurance departments, really just go to battle for the people they say, and it's so disadvantaged towards the actual people, because those people end up with really less coverage and more money out of pocket. And they're like, well, why bother? And again, the state governments can fight the insurance companies, want to do the give backs and all that, and they can say, no, we want something better, we want something different. And you know how great the states are at regulating things, right, folks?
Well, and if you're a big name, major national health insurance company, the way you grow your business is add 100 new clients today. And if the state of New York is a jerk and over-regulates you and gives you a hard time, then we'll just run 4 extra commercials in Tampa and get 100 new clients in Tampa, and, we don't care about New Jersey.
Right.
And so you have,
And the plans reflect it, and again, it's just, so again, back to location, we mentioned here. Fernando, how did you say people get, you said there's a website for you, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's very simple. It's ffis.co. It simply stands for Family Focused Insurance Solutions. Once again, ffis.co. Well, give us a call at 813-533-3000. Again, 813-533-3000.
Cool deal.
Wow. Well, excellent. Well, thank you, Fernando, for your time and your expertise. I know you've got a radio show out here somewhere also, right?
Locally, that's right.
So you've been doing this radio show for a while now, a few months?
4 or 6 years now.
Oh, my goodness.
It's in Spanish, absolutely.
Oh, it's in Spanish? Okay. Then my Spanish has gotten, that's gotten a little bit better. Yo quiero Taco Bell, so I'm kind of muy bueno. ¿Dónde está el baño? Anyway, well, thank you so much, Fernando. We appreciate your time. And again, we'll make sure and pass along your information as people ask. You said your phone number was what?
813-533-3000.
Awesome.
Very
Thank
cool.
you so much, Fernando. Appreciate your time.
We'll remind folks at the end of the show.
That's right.
So,
Thank you so
Eddie's
much.
not here, but we're going to do On This Day in History.
Oh my goodness, time is blasting away. You've got this part, right?
I do. Whether you want to or not, we're going to maintain Eddie's tradition, because he and I are apparently the only ones that think this is interesting and fun, and the guys in Kansas City always send notes saying that was
Absolutely.
cool. So besides the obvious thing, which you can get on every other radio show, today in history, in 1776, George Washington needed a spy. And he asked for volunteers, and a guy named Nathan Hale said, "Oh, I'll do that." Nathan Hale. 1941, construction started on a building in Arlington, Virginia. At the time planned, it was going to be the largest office building in the world. You know it as Pentagon.
Oh.
On this day in history, 1953, a random junior senator by the name of John F. Kennedy got married to Jacqueline Bouvier. In 1965, the 1st Cavalry Division arrived in Vietnam, the first full U.S. Army division deployed to Vietnam because, we were in it to win it, right?
Vietnam, I'm having a flashback. That like Afghanistan?
Yeah. 1977, here's one that's fun. Hamidi Djibouti.
Excuse me?
There's a name for you, Hamidi Djibouti. He was convicted of a very awful torture murder case. It was all the thing it was a big headline, 1977. But he was the last person to be executed by guillotine in France.
Wow.
And then they got all,
PC,
and they don't kill anybody.
I think they just use a ruler on the wrist now.
1987, Fatal Attraction was in the movie theaters for the first time.
That was scary back then.
The scary movie about the married guy who had to fling with the crazy woman, Michael Douglas, Glenn Close, scared married men everywhere this weekend, 1987.
Wow.
1992, astronaut Mae Jemison became the first African-American woman to fly in space. She went to a space lab on the J mission, which was one of those shuttle STS-47 flights. This day in 2008, the Large Hadron Collider at CERN, Switzerland, got turned on. They flipped the switch, largest scientific experiment in the history of the human race. 2008, big fire. This was personal story, but 2008 there was a big fire in the Channel, which is the big train tunnel that goes under the English Channel, connects France and Germany.
Huh.
It's really called the Channel Tunnel, but nobody calls it that. It's the Channel. Anyway, it was a fire that shut down the channel, and it took them till February to get that mess opened again.
Wow.
This day in 1971, the #1 hit on pop radio was Donny Osmond, "Go Away, Little Girl."
Do you still have that on 8-track?
I think I still have that on 8-track.
Yes, of course.
On this day in history, TV, the Monkees had a brand new TV show about a rock band. This day in history, 1959, Bonanza started, biggest, longest running cowboy TV show ever. X-Files, 1993.
Oh my goodness.
And the X-Files was a big hit for a brand new TV network nobody had ever heard of called Fox.
Oh boy. Back when Murdoch ran it.
Yep, in sports, 1985, American pro baseball player Pete Rose registered his 4,192nd career hit. He broke the record of Ty Cobb, and he's still not in the Hall of Fame. 1971, Nikita Khrushchev died. He was the leader of the Soviet bunch of folks. He was the big boogeyman of the Cold War, if you're not old enough to remember Nikita Khrushchev. Birthdays on September 11th. Arnold Palmer, the real guy, not the drink.
Way back when. Yeah.
Roger Maris, also from baseball. 1918, Rin Tin Tin, the German.
Oh my goodness.
The German shepherd dog on the TV shows.
Yeah.
1933, Karl Lagerfeld. 1934, Charles, the fashion guy, Charles Lagerfeld. 1935,
Have that cologne.
Charles Kuralt, the TV guy. 1945, Jose Feliciano.
Oh my goodness.
Remember
Come on, baby,
Chico
light my
and the
fire.
Man? Right, exactly. Yeah. One of my heroes when I was in high school, 1948, Bob Lanier's birthday is today. He was an 8-time NBA All-Star Basketball Hall of Fame guy. Bill O'Reilly, the TV radio host, his birthday is today. So is Joe Perry from Aerosmith.
Oh my goodness.
And Big Daddy Kane's birthday is today too. He was born in 1968.
Wow.
So I got another weird one for you.
Oh boy.
While we're doing this day in history,
Come on.
we're running long.
Bring it on.
What part of this have we heard before? Tell me when you know who is the star of this day in history. This day in history, a big movie star was arrested.
Big movie star.
Yep. It was in all the papers. Famous guy. He had just signed a huge movie deal. So the guy goes to San Francisco with a bunch of his buddies and throws a big party in a hotel room. This is already going down.
So it's a rock and roll thing?
Going down fast. And in the big party were a bunch of wannabe cuties and a bunch of drugs, and it was a whole Hollywood party. And guess what? Next day, one of the cuties had gotten herself home, but the next day, one of the cuties was found dead. She died of a toxic drug overdose.
Oh,
by the way, did somebody say rape? Oh, yes, well, of course they did.
Oh.
So the politically ambitious San Francisco district attorney was determined to prosecute this big star. Any ideas yet? Even though the best witness turned out to have sort of a problem, she was questionable, she had a criminal record of her own. 2 trials.
2 trials.
The witness stories kept changing, and he kept getting hung juries.
Eddie Hearst?
No, good guess though. But they claimed the DA got them to lie, so that was a scandal by itself. During the 3rd trial, it really went bad for the DA. In fact, it went so bad that the jury decided not guilty and issued an apology to the star.
So, Patty Hearst, we didn't say, not Patty Hearst. Hart, something Hart?
Robert Blake, no. OJ, no, that's not the OJ. Right? The year was 1919. Fatty Arbuckle.
Oh my goodness.
One of the black and white silent movie era stars, long before Harvey invented TMZ.
Wow.
Right? This was a big deal and a big scandal. If you don't know Fatty Arbuckle, he was big pals and did stuff similar to Buster Keaton, who was not in big parties, raping and having drug parties, we allegedly say. Anyway, didn't go well for Fatty Arbuckle. He was proven innocent and tried to rehab his career, and nobody would hire him. And he tried to come back, and that didn't work. And so he died of a heart failure at age 46.
Wow, that is young. Sure was no D.
In 1933. So that's more than you cared to know anything about today.
Exactly.
In history, September 11, and hopefully much more interesting and informative than everything that every other show is doing about today.
There we go. All right, folks. So here we go. Get ready to help you get seatbelt on. The CDC changes the definition of a vaccine. This just happened. The CDC, the previous definition at the Immunization Basics, CDC, could be interpreted to mean that vaccines are 100% effective, which has never been the case. So the current definition is more transparent and also describes the ways in which vaccines can be administered. The earlier definition of vaccine definition also included immunity in its definition. For the new definition for the vaccine the CDC just put out now reads, a preparation that is used to stimulate the body's immune response against disease, while vaccination is the act of introducing a vaccine into the body to produce protection from a specific disease.
So if you can't fix the solution, just change the definition?
Absolutely, because they are totally clueless. If you remember,
Government at work.
yeah, so understanding a few reasons why I don't trust the government. This thing called the Tuskegee experiment. How about Project MK Ultra or Operation Sea Spray? Or how about the one the government approved, those AIDS drugs tested on hundreds of foster children? The plutonium files, the forcible sterilized poor and disabled people program, children sprayed with pesticide, DDT, to cure polio. That's right, the CDC, our government, approved of these things. An interesting quote from A Bug's Life. You guys ever saw that movie several years ago, A Bug's Life? It went like this.
The big roach, you said.
This was the big ant.
Yeah.
It said, I guess it was the roach. It said, you let one ant stand up to us, and they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if we ever let them figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food, it's about keeping those ants in line. Gee, that sounds like what's happening right now.
That was much more elegant than what Mandela said in South Africa about de Klerk. But we'll
There you
we'll
go.
avoid that diversion.
Have you noticed through everything lately that I noticed that Biden didn't mandate vaccines for welfare recipients, nor did he mandate it for homeless people, nor illegal aliens and refugees. The Postal Service, all their employees, just under 700,000 employees, have gotten a pass. They are not going to be mandated for getting the vaccine. The White House is not mandated for getting the vaccine. The CDC is mandating, but their people are not mandated. The WHO is not mandated. The NIH is not mandated. Ladies and gentlemen, it's either a pandemic or a scamdemic. Why is it that we have open borders, we have thousands and thousands of people being flown into our country with no testing, no vaccine requirements? So how many people have they pulled out of Walmart dead? That's right, none. Anyway, so we're going to lighten this load here. I signed up for an exercise class and was told to wear loose-fitting clothes. If I had any loose-fitting clothes, I wouldn't have signed up for the class. Folks, there's just so much going on here. Let's see now. Are you getting it yet? Joe Biden made a deal with China to remove American troops from Afghanistan to help Beijing. Now, as for Texas, they just passed the abortion rule down there, and the courts have held it up. Meanwhile, the Satanists said they think they can probably try and fight it. Somebody is going to end up supporting that, folks. Who could it be? Now, back on the lighter note again, undercover cops posing as drug buyers are arrested by undercover cops posing as drug dealers.
Yeah,
That's right.
That was my favorite.
Your tax dollars are paying for that. Now, back to this vaccine. Promised 3 things. You couldn't get it once you got the shot. You couldn't spread it once you got the shot. And you'd have a milder illness of it if you didn't get it. Guess what? All 3 We're wrong. Meanwhile, child suicides are rising during the lockdowns. Number of youth in hospitals after suicide attempts tripled over 4 months period under the COVID thing. Referrals to deceding orders programs increased by 90%. Suicide attempts among adolescent girls surged by more than 50%. As well as child psychiatrists warn that the pandemic may be driving up kids' suicide risk.
I've got one to add to the list you're going to love.
Woo.
In Australia, which is locked down terribly bad, you can Google this.
Rikers Island.
But Australia's locked down terribly bad, has been for months. They have just decided that they're going to limit alcohol purchases
Because COVID knows.
because people are drunk all the time. There's nothing else to do. Stay home and get drunk. Well, we can't have that.
They
right?
can't leave the
And
5-mile radius without
right.
being arrested.
Exactly. And and by the way, we're in a state with a Republican governor who resists all this. In Australia, in Sydney, where one of my companies is based, and in Victoria and Perth and several of these places, they have what we would call National Guard troops patrolling the streets. Hey, you, what are you doing on the street, arresting people, and the fine if they catch you outside the house is, let's call it ballpark, the equivalent of $5,000. Yeah.
So, folks, as we try and give you some actual news here, I was watching a show recently called 10 Steps to Avoiding a Shark Attack. I was really surprised that stay out of the water wasn't step number 1. So sometimes common sense is just not so common. Now, as we go for teens chanting about National School Walkout Day, as they yell at the conservatives that tell them to get back to school, the teens are chanting, hey, 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 NRA, how many kids have you killed today? Back comes the response from the NRA, 0, like today and every day. Now go ask Planned Parenthood. Ooh, that's a bit loaded, folks. That's not good. Confiscating the booze. I wonder how many people know that Maine has the fastest growth rate of COVID cases in the United States right now, despite 83.3% of the adults and 97.4% of the seniors have already been vaccinated. Isn't that weird, folks? That's just the weirdest thing. So we got the science lockdowns. Let's see. Transcript, of course. Oh, boy, time is flying. Tim, what have we got to cover? We got life insurance stuff to talk about, people. Please go to the website, porchtalkradio.com.
Yeah.
Gabriel at porchtalkradio.com. If you need any questions, if you have any questions about life insurance needs, whether it's going to be something like, well, I'm too old, my health is not good, or I'm healthy and I need pretty good coverage, then we recommend we have all these avenues for this stuff to be made available to you. Some of it doesn't even require physicals. Because we know prepaid needs plans. Tim, you said something about that?
Yeah, we, again, insurance is complicated, and there's a lot of insider information that you need somebody that can really walk you through this stuff. These
Prepaid, or what do you call it?
these
Needs plans?
These prepaid needs plan, burial plan, things that you see advertised, really not the best insurance. And there's
Is
lots
it insurance? I don't know what it is.
Well, right, and they call it that. So lots of convoluted moving pieces there. So if you have questions about that, maybe a different time when Eddie's playing hooky, we'll cover that. But yeah, so if you have these questions, you've got a bunch of folks here who, pretend
We've
to
been at it a long
pretend to
time.
be silly on the radio on the weekends, but we've been at this for a very long time. And again, if you want help with your Medicare choices and options, you can call our buddy Fernando. His phone number again is 813-533-3000, and the website was ffii.co, and he can help you as well. Or go to porchtalkradio.com. The main page, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll see a button to click for NCSA. That'll cover some of your big, huge copay deductible problems, whether you have employer insurance with high deductibles, or you have an ObamaCare plan, or
Or if you don't have any coverage at all.
Or no coverage
If you
at
have
all.
no coverage at all, it doesn't matter what your age is, because we've got no-cost telemedicine, the dental plans, prescriptions, doctors online, nurses online, 24-hour counseling, Patient advocacy helps reduce those medical bills from past situations. Vision, hearing, chiropractic, lab tests, x-rays, MRIs, CT scans, diabetic supplies. Folks, there's just so much involved in these plans. Roadside assistance, pet care. If you have a pet, you want to make sure the pet's always sick or something like that.
The fastest growing new segment of insurance is one that catches a lot of people by surprise. It's pet insurance.
It's huge.
Unless you're a pet person.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, of course, because when Fluffy or Puppy had a minor medical problem and I tried to find a vet and, you know, they wanted $987 billion cash up front, you know, pet care is very expensive, and so the insurance is, you know, is really, really a help.
And again, our National Savings Care Program of America, it's a nationwide program, covers your entire family. We had called it between $29 and $59, depends which program you set up. It covers the entire family. Doesn't matter the history. Over 1 million providers available, network nationwide, and Puerto Rico.
There you go. All right. Well, we love you, Tampa Bay, as Eddie always says. We really do. That's why we do the show, to bring you information.
Really?
Yeah. Whether it sounds like it or not, we really.
Stop.
I'm Tim Horton, the executive producer of the Porch Talk radio show, all these 11 years now. Eddie will be back next week. He took a play hooky day to go work on some stuff.
We gave him a pass.
Gabriel's here as always. We're happy to hear from you. And until next week, same bat time, same bat station, this is Porch Talk Radio. We'll see you next time.
God bless America.